Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Next at noon, protecting undocumented migrants. How local leaders plan to reform the city's welcoming ordinance.
A new leadership shakeup in Minneapolis. We'll tell you who is in and who is out.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sylvia Perez.
And I'm Natalie Bumpke, and we want to start with the forecast. It is still cold outside, and more snow could be on the way. Caitlin Cody's here with the latest.
That's right. It's a chilly one. We still have snow coming down for some in Chicagoland. If you look behind me, you can see. First of all, I want to point out the snow on the ground, because what you see here in white that's not moving, that is the scattered snow throughout Chicagoland, and it's not going to be melting anytime soon. As we round the lake, that's where there is some light snow coming down from LaPorte to Berrien County. In the city, it's just cold. I'm seeing a touch of blue there in southern portions of Kane County. You might see a few flurries out there. Made headline, though, is the temperature along with the gusty winds, so the wind chill, of course. Right now, actual temperature is 14 at the lakefront, 12 at O'Hare and Waukegan, 14 at Midway. Northwest Indiana temperatures for you are ranging in the mid to upper teens. But it has been gusty all morning, and it continues at this early afternoon hour. We have 28-mile-per-hour wind gusts at O'Hare, 26 in Waukegan, 25 from Joliet to Midway, and I do see a 32-mile-per-hour wind gust there in Gary. So it feels like we could be below zero. From O'Hare points west, 6 degrees below zero is the wind chill at O'Hare, as well as in DeKalb, 5 degrees below zero in Aurora. Northwest Indiana, temperatures hovering from about 2 degrees below zero to 2 degrees above zero. So it's cold for everyone. 3-day forecast. Over the next couple of days, temperatures are going to be pretty similar to today, staying in the mid to upper teens over the next couple of days. But then we have the chance for snow. You heard Natalie tease that off the top. Lake effect snowfall could be back to Chicagoland starting Thursday night, Friday, even on Saturday. But that's when the temperatures start to warm up this weekend into early next week. I'll show you that ahead.
All right, thanks for that, Caitlin. Happening right now, labor, faith, and community leaders are holding a prayer vigil on the west side. The group is honoring Alex Preddy, a VA nurse and union member who was shot and killed by federal agents while protesting in Minneapolis. This event is taking place near Taylor Street and Damon Avenue. As calls continue to grow for reform over ICE tactics, a federal judge is now weighing in on the treatment of detained immigrants.
And Fox Chicago's Saquon is in Minneapolis with those details.
There have been many developments out of this, and let's start with that latest one. As you mentioned, a federal judge now in Minnesota basically calling on the ICE acting director, Todd Lyons, to appear in a federal court and explain why these detainees have been denied due process. This federal judge is basically accusing the Trump administration and ICE of failing to comply with these orders. We know that Todd Lyons is expected to appear in a federal court at 1 p.m. on Friday. We still have not yet heard from DHS or ICE in response to all of this. The other development that a lot of Minnesotans have basically been calling for right now, or at least residents here in Minneapolis, we know Greg Bovino, who's really been the face of these immigration operations, has now been demoted from his role as Border Patrol Commander at Large. He's actually set to return to his former job to lead the implementation of the Trump administration's immigration policy in California. These are coming from sources who have now confirmed this information. It's also worth noting, we know some federal agents will be leaving Minnesota today, and the question really now is how many of these federal agents will be leaving, and will ICE agents be included in that departure? Right now there are 3,000 federal agents in the state for immigration operations. About 2,000 of them are with ICE. The other 1,000 are with Border Patrol, and once again we know Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino is also going to be leaving today, and that is huge because that's kind of a shakeup in the leadership department of all of these immigration operations happening. This also comes after both the governor and the Minneapolis mayor talked to the president on the phone, as we've described all throughout the morning. They've both called us a productive call. And today, we also know border czar Tom Homan is going to be arriving here to Minnesota. Homan does come with law enforcement experience, working with both Republicans and Democrats. In fact, he was named Associate Director of ICE by President Barack Obama back in 2013. He was named Director of ICE by President Trump back in 2017. And then, of course, most recently was named border czar also by the president in 2024 to be in charge of all deportations. Lots going on here in Minnesota. Now, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, We know that Tom Homan, that border czar, will now be the point of contact here on the ground in Minneapolis. Minneapolis's Mayor Jacob Frey is also set to meet with Homan today, and they are expected to discuss further details, although he did not specify what that would look like nor what time that would be happening here today. Guys.
All right. Thanks for that, Tay. For years, Chicago's Welcome City ordinance has protected undocumented residents.
But some alders want to reinforce that policy after allegations that Chicago police assisted federal immigration agents back in June. This afternoon, a group of alders will meet to take up a new measure. It would enable the Civilian Office of Police Accountability to formally investigate alleged violations of the Welcoming City ordinance. The ordinance prevents city employees, including police officers, from assisting federal authorities with immigration matters. Alderman Jesse Fuentes and Andre Vasquez say the current ordinance does not hold people accountable.
And every single day we work to uphold the values of a welcoming city. This amendment to the COPA ordinance is doing just that. It's making sure that we have the infrastructure and the systems to hold people accountable.
If we don't make these changes now, I fear for what it will look like between now and March when ICE does come back.
That meeting will happen at 1 o'clock.
A Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is now calling for the evidence in her case to be made public. Marimar Martinez was accused of ramming a Border Patrol agent's car in October. She was shot multiple times. Charges filed against her were later dropped. Martinez's attorney says releasing body cam footage and other forms of evidence will ensure the debate around the case is based on fact.
January marks National Human Trafficking Prevention Month.
So Metra is making sure commuters know what signs to look out for. Roseanne has the latest from Union Station.
Metra passengers and employees can actually help identify victims. On this Human Trafficking Prevention Awareness Month, Metra decided it was a perfect time to act. You see, victims are often transported by train, and they're trying to teach riders to know the signs. So they're passing out magnets with the hope that if riders recognize what's happening, it could be the first step to getting a victim away from a trafficker. 95% of people trafficked are targeted by age 13 and are often too frightened to reach out for help. Signs of trafficking include no ticket or fare, few or no personal belongings. Maybe they're not allowed to speak for themselves, or they could be wearing seasonally inappropriate clothing. Jim Derwinski, the executive director and CEO of Metra, says people on trains can play a big role in prevention.
There's 4 things we're really asking people to look for. One is like out of seasonal clothing. Sometimes people that are being trafficked, they might be wearing summer clothes in winter, no eye contact with the conductors, not having their own ticket, and sometimes sitting with other groups of, say, youngsters with an adult that doesn't look to be a relative.
Right. Give us the idea of the numbers involved in human trafficking so people realize how prevalent this really is.
It's hard to nail down the numbers, but worldwide last year they believe it was about 40 million people were human trafficked, sex trafficked and human trafficked.
So Metra's hoping that you put this magnet, maybe on your file cabinet at work, maybe on your refrigerator, but familiarize yourself with these signs. And what do you do if you do spot some of these signs? So the best thing is to go to the conductor, go to the train conductor or a Metra police officer and tell them what you're thinking. At Union Station, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Thank you, Roseanne, for that reminder. 2 people hurt after an overnight house fire in Roseland. This happened on West Toohey Road around 3 o'clock this morning. Both victims were taken to the hospital in serious condition. No word on what sparked the fire. The Hammond, Indiana Police Department mourning one of their canine officers. The department says Adam has passed away. Adam and his handler, Corporal Edgar Huerta, earned 2 Medals of Valor and a meritorious award for their work in the department. They began working together in 2019, and Adam was a beloved family companion.
Chicago police asking for your help in finding a missing girl. Take a look. She is 11-year-old Samantha Hernandez. She was last seen near the 4400 block of South Honore yesterday. Police say she has brown eyes, black hair, and she's about 5 feet tall. She was last seen wearing a black hoodie, black pajama pants with stripes, and black Crocs. Anyone with information is asked to contact Area 1 detectives. A coalition of public school advocates is urging Governor Pritzker to reject a new federal school voucher program.
Today, more than 40 organizations delivered a letter calling on the governor to opt Illinois out of the program set to start in 2027. The group says vouchers would redirect public tax dollars to private schools with less oversight and fewer civil rights protections.
Public tax dollars should be used to serve all students while also following state and federal civil rights laws. Only public schools do that. As a governor who has promised to protect transgender Illinoisans and fight for disability rights in the midst of Donald Trump's war on our communities, opting into this program would be a direct betrayal of those commitments.
Organizers say protecting public schools is essential, especially as most Illinois students attend public classrooms.
More to come here on Fox 32 News at noon. New details could be released today in last year's collision between a passenger jet and a Black Hawk helicopter in Washington, D.C.
A trial underway right now could determine if families can sue social media platforms over teens' overuse.
Thousands across the South are without power as many across the country clean up from snow and ice. I am Brandy Campbell in Oxford, Mississippi. I'll have the story coming up.
I'm John Morgan.
First Canada, now South Korea. The tariff threats keep coming as President Trump's trade war intensifies. Once again, Madeline Rivera has more from Washington.
The tariff war is heating up once again. A day after threatening Canada with 100% tariffs, President Trump announced he's raising tariffs on South Korea to 25%. Writing on social media, quote, South Korea's legislature is not living up to its deal with the United States. Last year, Seoul agreed to invest $350 billion in the U.S. in exchange for tariff relief. But lawmakers still have to approve the deal. And the White House claims they're dragging their feet.
South Korea has to prevent damage to its companies, which gives it a strong incentive to to enter negotiations with real urgency and a sense of necessity.
Meanwhile, Canada is pushing back against the new tariff threat, which started when President Trump claimed China and Canada are close to a free trade agreement. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says that's simply not true.
What we've done with China is to rectify some issues that developed in the last couple of years. In many respects, we're going, to use the expression, back to the future.
And in Europe,
we delivered the mother of all deals.
The EU signed a major new free trade deal with India, which will enable both economies to pivot away from trade with the U.S. Some officials directly addressed tensions from the trade war during the signing ceremony.
By combining these strengths, we reduce strategic dependencies at a time when trade is increasingly weaponized.
The United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement is up for review this year, and President Trump says he might not renew it without significant changes. In Washington, Mala Rivera, Fox Chicago.
Well, this week marks 1 year since the deadly crash between a passenger plane and Black Hawk helicopter in Washington, D.C.
67 people were killed. The National Transportation Safety Board says the incident was a result of systemic issues, and it was not caused by just one organization or person.
There is no singular person to blame for this. These were systemic issues across multiple organizations. And I think, as you'll see, we will place a lot of the information that you're going to hear on those responsible organizations and hopefully make recommendations so that this never happens again.
We'll keep you updated on what new safety recommendations are made. Meantime, European Union regulators investigating the AI chatbot Grok after it started creating non-consensual, sexualized deepfake images of women and children. Grok is primarily used on Elon Musk's social media platform X. Several other governments have banned the bot or issued warnings against it.
Let's be very clear. Child sexual abuse material is not a premium privilege, because such output has no place in Europe, and we need to protect our citizens from potential future harms. This is why this investigation into Grok will allow us to look deeper into the matter to protect our women, our children, and our citizens.
A spokesperson for X says the company remains committed to safety and has zero tolerance for child sexual exploitation and non-consensual nudity.
A landmark trial against social media giants Meta and Google is now underway in California, but it's just been announced TikTok has reached a settlement hours before that trial begins. Scrolling social media apps like Instagram and TikTok for hours is routine for many teenagers, but what's behind the seeming addiction to these platforms? Well, according to a bombshell lawsuit, it's the social media companies who are to blame for intentionally designing apps to hook young users.
That's their business model. The more time people spend on it, the more money they make.
Causation is going to be huge here, right? That's what the tech companies are going to lead with. They're going to say, look, anxiety, depression, the like, that could be caused by a whole number of things.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, are expected to testify. Snapchat and TikTok were initially named in this lawsuit but have settled. The trial could last 6 to 8 weeks, and if the jury rules against the tech companies, it could lead to a wave of additional lawsuits. As that trial begins to take shape, many girls say they would rather skip vacation than go somewhere without Wi-Fi.
I'm sure parents would agree to this, though, too. The Girl Scouts did a survey. They found 40% of girls would skip a vacation if the destination did not have the internet. More than half say they go online because they're bored, but most say they feel like they have to keep up an online presence. Researchers say fear of missing out is strongest among girls 11 to 13. All right, the snow is gone, but power outages still impacting thousands of people across the South.
This is coming as airlines recover from a lot of cancellations and delays. Brandy Campbell has more from Oxford, Mississippi.
Probably at least 30 to 40 degrees in my house right now.
Temperatures plunging across the country Tuesday as millions of Americans dig out from the weekend's major winter storm. More than 24 people were killed before the system moved off the East Coast, and officials are urging folks to be careful as the frigid cold turns snow into ice.
We still expect cold temperatures below freezing for the rest of the week. This type of cold means that we will see upticks in power needs.
Across the South, hundreds of thousands are without power and heat after freezing rain snapped tree limbs and power lines. Utility crews are working around the clock to restore service, but say road conditions are impacting recovery efforts.
The heavily iced trees, they continue to fall even 4 days into the storm, and that's our biggest safety concern right now.
In the Northeast, plows continue to take care of the snow. Boston received more than 20 inches of snow, while Philadelphia saw almost 10, the most in a decade.
It wasn't so bad, but it was slushy for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of people shoveled.
And the travel headache continues. More than 2,500 flights were already delayed or canceled early Tuesday, though the FAA says service should be back to normal by tomorrow.
It is what it is. Things happen, you know, you can't control it, but you just roll with the punches.
And the forecasters say another winter storm could hit parts of the East Coast this weekend. In Oxford, Mississippi, Brandy Campbell, Fox Chicago.
Let's take a live look outside as we get a shot of our city. Overcast skies, look at the little sunshine's trying to peek through. So what can you expect? Well, I'm just guessing definitely more cold, but how about more sun?
I know it. Partly to mostly cloudy skies now. More cold. We could use more sun. Yeah, temperatures are definitely going to be chilly, feeling like we could be below zero in many spots because the gusts today. It's quite windy. Let's take a look at satellite radar. As we just mentioned, we do have a few clouds, but we also have some snow for our neighbors as we round the lake in that Michiana area. I'm talking about LaPorte and Berrien County, some light snow coming down. In the city, it's not too bad out there looking, but it's chilly. Temperatures right now are ranging from about 10 to 16 degrees. I see 15 at the lakefront. There's a 17 in Joliet, but 16 in Gary and Michigan City and Kankakee, 12 in Waukegan. That's the actual temperature. Let's check in on those wind speeds. Around 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts are possible today. Right now, we're sitting at 30 at O'Hare, 25 at Midway, 24 in Joliet, about 30 miles per hour in Morris, to LaSalle, to Waukegan. That's not going to help that feel like temperature right now. Wind chills below zero for most of us. 2 degrees below zero is what it feels like at the lakefront. 4 degrees below zero at O'Hare, 5 degrees below zero in Aurora. It's quiet outside of the gusty winds, that little bit of snow in Michiana, and the cold temperatures. So let's take a look at the wind chill for today. Over the next 12 hours, you can we remain below zero all the way through tonight. 12, 1 a.m., feeling like 11 degrees below zero. So tomorrow morning for the kiddos at the bus stop, it's going to be dangerously cold yet again. 3-day forecast temperatures right around 15 degrees for tomorrow, Thursday around 13. And then our attention will be shifting to the potential of lake effect snowfall starting Thursday night, Friday, even on Saturday. But as we head into early next week, we will be flirting with 30. A full check of your 7-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Caitlin. Still trying to get your child to sleep through the night.
A sleep specialist weighing in next on healthy sleep habits for children and parents.
Fox Tonight.
New parents know one of the biggest topics of conversation after having a baby is the subject of sleep. Should you sleep train? Should you let them cry it out? Or should you co-sleep? And how do you find the right balance?
So joining us now to talk about the psychology of sleep and why it may be time to rethink the cry it out theory is Chrissy Lawler. She is a family therapist, and she has a new book coming out called The Peaceful Sleeper, an intuitive approach to baby sleep. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So why is there so much when it comes to this conflicting information regarding sleep training and your baby? And who should parents trust when it comes to this?
Yeah, you know, it is a hard time to be a parent. We have access to so much information, which can be such a beautiful asset for so many parents. But especially around baby sleep, the voices can be very loud and very contradictory. So I guess the short answer to your question, who do you trust, is an actual expert that has research and data on their side.
Okay, so tell us about your method and how you believe it works.
Yes. So, you know, there's so much noise about to cry it out or not to cry it out. But learning how to sleep well is a developmental skill that can be learned. And so I think there's so much polarization because of the idea of the cry it out method, which like I always say sleep training of the 80s was a little bit more like close the door at 7 p.m., come back at 7 a.m., and whatever happens, happens. And soon a baby is going to sleep through the night. And it doesn't need to be that intense in order to get really good results. So where I kind of find this sweet spot is acknowledging every baby is different. Every family is different. Sleep is fundamentally important for every single family. And we can allow room for babies to learn a new skill in a way that aligns with babies' needs and families' needs.
Okay,
and
so give us an example.
It's going to look a little different from family to family.
So give us an example of maybe two different ones and what parents can do.
So one thing that I like to really highlight is there's a difference between cry it out, scream for 4 hours, throw up if you must, I'm not coming back in until 7 o'clock in the morning. That's not what anybody is recommending. But it's okay to allow room for protest while a baby is learning something new. Just like they might protest a little bit during tummy time, they might protest a little bit when the ball goes out of reach or they can't roll or crawl or stand yet. Once you're walking, you're still falling a bunch. It's those clunky parts of development are actually really good for learning the skills. So some babies, we can set a timer for 10 minutes, let them fuss a little bit, go into soothe, and that's a really easy, streamlined way for them to sleep train, to learn how to fall asleep on their own. Some babies get so amped and so escalated that time protesting is not productive. And that's a baby that might need a little bit more hand-holding and support.
Okay, I'm going to jump in.
Yes.
Okay, I met with a sleep counselor, and I believe in her method, and that is you can soothe a little bit, but the routine, you got to kind of cut out the routine. So you put the baby down in bed, you can put your hands on the baby's chest, but then back away. Is that essentially what you're saying is like cut down on the routine?
Yes and no. So I also look at the developmental lens and what we are doing in those first 4 months to establish a good sleep foundation. So that looks like optimizing their feedings to make sure they're getting enough throughout the day, optimizing the timing so that we know their ideal awake windows, their ideal bedtime, how much sleep can they comfortably get. We are looking at sources of discomfort and learning how to soothe our baby well. So that's the effort that we're doing those first 4 months. And then once we've established this good, solid sleep foundation, then and only then, yes, are we ready to lay them down, drowsy but awake, walk away, and see what they're able to do independently. So yes, it is that process of allowing space and time, but only after we've really buttoned up a good sleep foundation. And then we're watching very closely to see how they're navigating things. Okay. So I always compare it to, like, I have a 5-year-old and we just taught her how to ride a 2-wheeler. And of course, there's a space in that process where we take off the training wheels and we hold her a little bit and then we let go and we see what she can do. But that's very, very, very different than just handing a kid a bike and being like, hey, figure it out. I'll be inside. Good luck.
Okay,
like
Christy
there's so
Lawler.
much that we do in the training before we get to the independent stage.
We appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Tired parents are always looking for some good advice. Again, the name of the book is called The Peaceful Sleeper. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
And we'll be right back.
Who's the celebrity behind?
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the top stories we're following for you at noon.
This afternoon, a group of alders is going to meet and take up a new measure to enhance Chicago's welcoming city ordinance. Now, this would enable the Civilian Office of Police Accountability to formally investigate alleged violations if, say, the Chicago Police Department works with Border Patrol or ICE agents. The Welcoming City Ordinance prevents city employees, including police officers, from assisting federal authorities with immigration matters.
And happening right now, labor, faith, and community leaders holding a prayer vigil on the West Side. The group's honoring Alex Preddy, a VA nurse and union member who was shot and killed by federal immigration agents while protesting in Minneapolis. This event is taking place near Taylor Street and Dayton Avenue.
It's the end of an era for Southwest Airlines. Assigned seating begins today. It's all about money. When booking your next flight, you'll be able to decide where you want to sit. And guess what? There's going to be different pricing options, including extra legroom, preferred, and standard seating. We'll have more reaction on the new policy coming up in today's business headlines.
But right now, let's find out what you can expect with your forecast as we take a live look outside. Lots of snow, not going anywhere because it is still pretty cold out there, isn't it, Caitlin?
Dreaming of spring.
Yeah, all of us
Shopping
are.
for bathing suits. Yes. Satellite radar. Well, we have partly to mostly cloudy skies. A little bit of snow still coming down for our neighbors from LaPorte to Berrien County. With that, all of us are cold. We even have gusty winds. And I do want to point out that there is a touch of blue, even in portions of Cook County and DuPage. You might see some flurries out there early this afternoon. Talking about our 24-hour temperature change, though, we're headed in the right direction. We're 10 degrees warmer than we were yesterday at this time at the lakefront. 12-degree jump in Kankakee, 8 degrees warmer from O'Hare to Waukegan to Valpo, and that's leaving us around 10 to 17 degrees throughout Chicagoland. So we are all chilly, but let me give you a couple numbers. 14 at the lakefront now, Midway at 14, 15 in Chicago Heights and in Merrillville, Indiana, 11 from DeKalb to Woodstock at 11 degrees too. Now the wind, it has been gusty since last night. I know I heard it howling out there. Right now, we still have gusts at 30 miles per hour at O'Hare, 20 miles per hour at the lakefront, 24 in Valpo, 25 in Kankakee. That wind's coming in out of the west-northwest, and it's driving those wind chills down to below zero. 4 degrees below zero is what it feels like at the lakefront as well as at O'Hare. 5 degrees below zero in Aurora, Northwest Indiana. Around 2 degrees below zero for you for the wind chill. Futurecast. Let's take you through the rest of your day. Where are temperatures? Still right around 11 degrees by 4 o'clock. 7 o'clock, you get home from work, got to take the dog out. It's going to be 7 degrees outside at 7 p.m. And then tonight, of course, we continue to drop. This is 2 a.m., seeing temperatures at around 0 for some. As we head into early tomorrow, 7 a.m., 2 degrees. And then in the afternoon, we're back to about 15. Quiet conditions over the next couple of days before that lake effect snow machine turns on and we have the potential for snow returning Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. Today, though, again, it's going to be chilly. That west wind kicking at times above 30 miles per hour. Tonight, dropping down to about 2 as our low. And then tomorrow's high 15 with that wind still coming in out of the west up to 20 miles per hour. Here's your 7-day forecast. 16 degrees on Friday to end the week. That's the day that we could see some lake effect again starting Thursday night into Friday, even on Saturday. This weekend, temperatures back to the 20s, 26 degrees on Sunday. Then we start off next week at 27 on Monday. Back to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Well, allegedly, it depends on what you believe here.
Right.
We are closer to the end than ever before.
So the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists at the University of Chicago revealed the doomsday clock is now at 85 seconds to midnight, with midnight, of course, being doomsday.
The organization says the world has not done enough to stop the major dangers that we face.
The risks we face from nuclear weapons, climate change, and disruptive technologies are all growing. Every second counts, and we are running out of time. It is a hard truth, but this is our reality.
How wouldn't you love to be on that council? Every day is a bright one. The doomsday clock was created back in 1947. Last year, it was set at 89 seconds to midnight, which was also the closest it had been.
Well, the United Center is making history, becoming the first major arena in the U.S. to offer THC beverages. Chicago-based brands Senorita and Rhythm will be selling the drinks at most concerts and live events. The beverages will be available beginning next month. We'll have a live conversation with one of the vendors coming up at 1 o'clock on Chicago Live.
And it's time to say goodbye to open seating.
You need to know if you are booking your next flight with Southwest Airlines.
For some, the Chicago Auto Show is
Welcome back. It is 12:40, taking a live look at the New York Stock Exchange. Right now, the Dow Jones is trading under 470 points.
Now it's time to look at your business headlines with CJ Papa.
The Federal Reserve's two-day policy meeting begins today. The central bank widely expected to keep rates the same after cutting at the last three meetings. Big tech earnings this week from Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, and Apple. Investors watching for signs of AI-driven profit growth and whether results can help restore momentum after a stretch of underperformance in some tech names.
Cloud bookings look to still be robust for Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, and digital ad spending's good. Layer on top of that, of course, is AI and the opportunities there in terms of generating future business.
Nike is laying off about 775 workers as it ramps up its use of advanced tech and automation, part of its broad turnaround strategy. The cuts will primarily affect workers at its distribution centers across Tennessee and Mississippi, amounting to about 1% of its overall workforce. And Southwest is officially ending its open seat policy. The airline will now have seat assignments. The boarding system will shift to a new model that uses groups 1 through 8. The company will now also require customers of size who cannot fit between armrests to purchase additional seats in advance. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox Chicago.
The Force is with the Chicago.
People carrying student loans are catching a break from the federal government.
The Education Department is putting off a collection program that was supposed to be taking effect. Anita Blanton is talking about this on Chicago Live. She starts it off with a loan expert for us. Hey, Anita.
Hey, ladies. Yeah, what a back and forth people have done over the last few years on this particular topic. Now a glimmer of hope for those who have been hoping, wishing, praying maybe for some relief. Let's go ahead and bring in Jack Wallace into the discussion here. There are 43 million Americans who have some type of student loan debt. Wage garnishment would have spelled disaster for many of them. So what do you think these potential new repayment plans would look like, and when would they be announced and implemented?
Well, the new repayment plan was included in the One Big Beautiful Bill
that was signed last July, and that's going to go effective July 1st of this year. And it's called the RAP bill. And what that's going to do is take a percentage of your income, depending upon your income, from 1% to 10% in terms of repayment structure that you would be repaying. The big issue right now, because of the pause that was created by putting on hold the wage garnishment thing, is we have over 175,000 people that live in Illinois with federal student loans that are in default. And that number is probably even higher than that. And so what we need to do is to take the time right now to communicate with our servicer, or if we are actually in default, to go to myed.debt.ed.gov and see what your options are, including doing a rehabilitation program that will get you back in repayment and get you back into good graces. Now, if you're not delinquent, or you're about to go delinquent, or you are delinquent and about to go into default, you want to go to studentaid.gov and see what repayment plans there are for you there, as well as looking at to consolidate your loans if you didn't already consolidate your federal student loans.
Jack, great information there for people who need to start acting now. I'm seeing July 1st, 2026 as a deadline that will divide borrowers essentially into two groups. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, and then what happens after July 1st?
Well, the new program will go into effect July 1st. The SAVE program that everybody heard about has been declared unconstitutional by the courts, and that's why a new program had to be created to make it more affordable for people to be able to repay their loan. With this new loan program, not only is it a percentage of your income from 1% to 10%, depending upon what you make, but also there would be forgiveness after an extended period of time. But it gets you more in line with the Obama and the Bush forgiveness programs, and you're looking at about 30 years after payments were done. The other thing it's going to do, this new program, is that if your minimum monthly payment doesn't cover all the interest, there's going to be some interest forgiveness by the Department of Education.
Okay, I mean, when you talk about 20, 30 years, that's such an extended period of time. Is interest still accruing even in the new program during this time?
Interest accrues on the debt, but what you're not going to have is the kind of craziness that we had going on prior to this new redoing of the student loan program, where people wound up having, because of deferments and forbearances, having interest that was due that was bigger than the original principal amount. So those days are over, and that was a major problem because people kept going into into forbearance or into deferment.
Sure.
But the big issue is, let's not, it's a new year. Let's get our financial house in order, and let's tee it up with the servicer or directly with the Department of Education, because this is an opportunity to not only clear your student loan debt in terms of getting back on, in repayment, but the other issue is your credit score, which is so important to buying a car or buying a house or getting a credit card, or nowadays some people even to get an apartment, they'll pull your credit score. So we want to stop the hemorrhaging and the credit scores going down. We want them to flatten out and begin to come back up.
Jack, great information there, and it certainly affects so many different areas of life. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. Plenty more conversations to come on Chicago Live today, everybody. We'll see you online between 1 and 4 p.m. We'll go to break for now, and Natalie and Sylvia will be right back.
Stream Fox 32 News.
Are you ready to dance on the ceiling and maybe do it all night long? Lionel Richie is coming to the United Center on June 26. Tickets go on sale Friday. The sing-along all night long tour will also feature Earth, Wind and Fire. If you have a pre-sale code, you can get tickets today. General tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. I'm not lying. I would love to do that.
I believe you. Yes, you would sing along all night long. College football fans could own a piece of history from Indiana's national championship win. Take a good look there. That headset worn by head coach Curt Cignetti going on the auction block.
Really?
Bidding already more than $5,000. And how about this, Sylvia? A game-used water bottle and some used towels from the game also going to be up for auction. Can't pass that one up.
That sounds like fun.
Caitlin will have a final check of your forecast coming up. Well, how about this famous turkey in New York City? It went on a snow tour. Astoria is its name. It was seen in Battery Park walking around as turkeys do. Astoria is famous in New York because she flew from Manhattan to Roosevelt Island. And she's been on a neighborhood tour ever since then. She survived Thanksgiving, I guess.
How about it? And someone's been following her around, huh? An Olympic legend having some fun with Mother Nature. Winter storms providing the perfect opportunity for professional snowboarder Shaun White to show off his skills. Apparently, he's still got it. The crowds gathered in New York City Central Park, to watch the former Olympian perform several jumps and stunts in the snow. White, if you recall, competed at the Winter Olympics in Beijing in 2022. He'll be back at this year's games in a different way as a broadcast analyst. Very fun.
I love that. That is so, everybody's getting in on it. And Caitlin, doesn't that look like fun?
Yeah. Do you guys go skiing or snowboarding?
Yeah, I used to ski. I haven't skied in a while, but I never did snowboarding.
No, I do more of a snowball technique. So no, that is not for me.
I have friends who have their daughter, she's 2 years old, and we have this in Chicago too, but they're in Michigan, but where they take her to an indoor facility to teach her how to ski, and they go down these grassy surfaces classes that are kind of on an incline to get them used to it.
That's fun.
How cool is that kid going to be? When she's about 6, she'll be doing what Shaun White's doing. Yeah, it is very cold outside. I know even Anthony was talking about taking his kiddos up to Wisconsin to go skiing, but worried about these temperatures. It is going to be uncomfortable if you're not prepared. And it's not just today. Over the next couple of days, too, we're staying in that mid-teen range. Now, today, we also have gusty wind and the chance for a few flurries around. So that 14 is actually going to feel like we could be below 0 through the day. Tomorrow's high right around 15, Thursday, 13. Look at these lows, too, by the way. Hardly in the single digits at all. Expecting 0 Thursday morning. And then we end the week with cold temperatures and the chance for lake effect snow. Starting Thursday night, Friday, even on Saturday, we have the chance for snowfall. But the temperatures are slowly going to be warming above 20 this weekend. Saturday right around 23, 26 expected on Sunday. And then we start off next week around 30 with dry skies. We'll keep you up to date with this snowfall expected. As mentioned, Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday, even Saturday night, a little bit of snow for how much snow we expect and where it to fall. But in the meantime, for today, know that it is going to be a gusty day. So make sure you wear those gloves, cover your face if you can, because it is going to be windy and cold. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. That's all for Fox 32 News at noon.
The news continues on Chicago Live on Fox Local. Have a great day, everybody. Hope to see you back here on the news.